it's Nikki Dore, Dome Mediation. Now I'm bringing this video to you from on a Virgo new moon, and it's not specifically for this new moon, but it is. I'm going to talk about worrying, and I used to be a huge worrier, so this isn't necessarily esoteric. We spend a lot of time worrying about things. You can spend a lot of time and energy worrying on things, and I remember actually worrying about not worrying about things. That's kind of the place that I used to be in. And one thing that I've learned is you can't worry about things that you have no control over. So I see this with, say, elder children, parents with elder children, like adult children worrying about their life choices. You can't do anything about it, you're not responsible for it. And in some ways, it's that way of wanting to have that element of control. You brought them up, you need to allow them to have their own decisions. They're responsible for their own self, and we sometimes have to make our own mistakes. My mum used to do this thing where when I used to travel to America to see my dad, she used to watch on teletext my flight. You used to be able to not watch in pictures, you used to be able to see what was happening with the flight. She always used to say to me, "I'll be happy when you land safely and at your plane. I'll be happy." And I always used to wonder why. So you can't do anything about it. Why don't you go out, enjoy yourself? She said, "No, I need to watch the plane." But it makes no sense, because what is going to happen? So she wastes how many, 6 to 9 hours, depending where I was flying to, on watching a plane, because she wanted to know I was safe. But what could she have done? It was out of her control. And all that time worrying that I might not get there. And after a while you realise these things are fairly pointless. They're out of your control. You can't do anything about it. And I think we associate worrying about something or somebody, and how much we care. You can care about somebody and also not worry about their choices and what they do, or things out of your control. You can. It's very much when we think about worrying, it's a bit like attachment. We see attachment as love. And the same is with worrying. Oh, I worried about them so much, I couldn't get sleep. Yeah, and how does that help you? It's out of your control, and therefore you worried and lost sleep over it. There is that needing to accept what's out of your control and say, okay, well, I can't do anything more now. I can sit in how many hours and worry about it, or I can go, okay, I've done everything I can, I'm going to go, maybe I'll distract myself, maybe I'll just go and have fun, and then I'll come back and I'll worry when I actually get the results, like exams or whatever. You can spend a lot of time. You can get a lot of kind of health issues can come up from worrying too much. Just look at how many people get stressed and it goes straight to the stomach. They can't eat, they can't sleep. If you can't sleep, sleep will eventually kind of help your health, not help your health. So we worry a lot, and a lot of our time is taken up on things that we can't actually control. Is it a useful part of our time? Some of my friends will always go, "Call me when you get home." And I always find that weird. I'm an adult. What could you have done if I don't call you? Which I don't, by the way. I don't call a text. Because there is that, getting home is my responsibility. I'm an adult, therefore why are you worrying about me getting home? I think a lot of these things, and I would have maybe a number of years ago, but I think that when I suddenly learned how much it was, literally I would stress. I'd get myself so stressed and so worn out, and I was told I was highly strung, which I probably was at the time. And the reason why it's quite pertinent is because it's a Virgo. Virgo is very known for stressing and worrying and guilt. So the downsides, if you just had to highlight it, they're feeling guilty about something they may not have done or thought about, or they think that person might feel about them. They're worried about what may happen, what the person might think, what they haven't done, what they haven't put on their list, even before they go anywhere or do anything. And I think that, and the stress of nerves getting so hyped up about something, And yeah, I could see myself as being high strung when I was younger, and it's so much more relaxing now because, and it's weird because people do associate it with caring. And so if you say, no, I don't worry about that, they'll go, oh, but don't you care? Yeah, I care, but also can't do anything about it. There's also the element of sometimes faith. You have to have faith in the universe. But even if you don't have faith in the universe, or God or Spirit, or whatever, Buddha, whatever you believe in, really, you have to, you can't waste that time. Why waste all of that time stressed, anxious, and worried about something that is out of your control? It's like when you've submitted a job application, you can't do anything after you've submitted it, or after that interview, or after, there are times where there's large pockets of times where you can't do anything because about that situation to influence it. It's done. It's out of your control. And therefore you are wasting that time. And if we counted it, sometimes it's, hours, days, months, years can be wasted in focusing on and stressing about and worrying about things that are out of our control. And I think this was kind of brought to me a while ago, a number of years ago, probably about 10 years ago. I was working in a corporate company, and we were having some kind of meeting, and someone was stressing about something, and it's like, oh, what's going to happen here? And I can't even remember what it was. My boss drew this diagram, and it basically said, started with this first start, a bit like it just a normal flow chart, comes down to a question, and the question is, can you change it? And it's a very simple question, can you change it? No. Okay, you have to end. Yes, go and change it. And when you look at it in such a black and white way, there's lots of, you spend a lot of time humming and hawing. It sat with me because I'm like, oh yeah, but, I don't really see why you would not. And even to change it, you can kind of go, yeah, but, there's always reasons to find but actually he was like, no, if you've said you can change it and you're stressing about it and you're worried about it, then you change it, or you don't talk about it, or you leave it, you accept it, and you wait until, the outcome. You can't do anything about it, it's done. And it seemed like a really simple philosophy, but it took me a while to get my head around it. But actually, it's something that I look back on as a turning point for me, and it was a really small moment. And I'm like, okay, so I often will do that in my head. Can I change it? No. Okay. Can I change it? Yes, I do those things. And once you learn to just go off and do it rather than worrying about it, then you kind of relax a bit. And another good example is sometimes we think, oh, I wish I hadn't said that, or and then we worry about it. So instead of actually asking that person, because maybe we don't want to, bring it up, we kind of spend our time worrying about it. I guess, what if they said this, or what if they thought I meant that? Or actually, if you think so, why don't you ask them? It's a really simple for that. Just text them or call them and say that I said this, but I don't know how you felt about it. And often they'll go, oh, okay, I didn't really mean anything by it. I didn't think you meant anything by it, or I didn't mean anything by it when I said that. But instead we can stress and ask about it, and then it gets us into lots of these kind of head-heart situations where we spend a lot of time. So I wanted to kind of leave this video as try to stress more and enjoy, try to stress less, not more, and enjoy more. Use that time productively rather than spending your time where focusing on something that you can't change. Leave it, watch it grow, fail, go wrong, get great success after you've done everything that you can. And you will gain so many more hours, weeks, months, and even years of your life back because you're not worrying about the things that you can't control. So that's my message for today. Don't worry, be happy. Really cheesy.